Look, one of the virtues of this program is that you can rest assured I'll say things as they are, not as some might like them to be. There are many protected species in Australia: native birds, reptiles, amphibians, mammals, except the dingo, some fish species, the mountain pygmy possum, or the regent honeyeater, even the orange-bellied parrot. The most endangered species, we're told, is the koala. But when I checked all of this out last night, protected species, the one name that didn't appear was Philip Lowe, or as he'd like to be called, Dr. Philip Lowe, the Governor of the Reserve Bank. Last week, not for the first time, I pointed out this fellow no longer deserved protection. He should be gone from the job. I made the point that the central bank over which he presides has a simple mandate, and that is to secure the stability of the financial system. But as I reminded you, this is the person whose judgment, I wouldn't call it scholarship, is so flawed that he said only last November, and I quote, "It's still plausible that the first increase in the cash rate will not be before 2024, unquote. He also said, "I find it difficult to understand why rate rises are being priced in the next year or in early 2023, unquote. Yet here we are with rate rises on the march. Indeed, addressing an American Chamber of Commerce event in Sydney today, the same Dr. Lowe warned that Australians should prepare for higher interest rates. And last week he said it's unclear at the moment how far interest rates need to go up, unquote. Is that so, Dr. Lowe? Is this your latest blinding insight, not available to you last November when you told us that in all probability there would be no increase in the cash rate before 2024? To my viewers, I say this. Make no mistake, the crisis with inflation and interest rates is a direct consequence of failed monetary policy by a so-called independent Reserve Bank. Well, thankfully, this has brought a few people out of the woodwork. Speaking at an Australian Institute of Superannuation Trustees Investment Conference on Wednesday last week, one economist, Dr. Matthew Peter, criticised the central bank over its, quote, appalling communication on inflation and the need to lift rates higher, unquote. Dr. Peter said tellingly, the last thing we need is dithering, particularly from the monopolist on the money supply, namely the Reserve Bank, that determines our interest rates, unquote. He echoed what I have said. We can handle it if you get it wrong, but what we can't handle is not being certain about what you think you're going to do over the next little while, unquote. Now remember, this protected species, Philip Lowe, has said, quote, it's unclear at the moment how far interest rates will need to go up, unquote. Well, how does business make responsible decisions in that environment?